it's not my place to talk for you. I respect you in that. Like, I get that you hate me, but I respect you enough to not say a word when I'm told not to.
So, do you want to name who she named, Katie?
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, God. So I saw the screenshot of the actual account she spoke to. It was the real account of the person. She had them blocked, and it was Steve McCrae.
There you go.
It was not a fake screenshot. It was his real account. We verified it was his real account. She was lied to by them when they found out that he was threatening her. It's my belief that they got nervous that she would say something, and they made her think she wasn't talking to him, but it was really his account.
That's what I was afraid of. See, and people told me I was nuts. So it's allegedly Steve.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I mean, I've known this the whole time. And I think, like, people don't realize, like, it's hard because a lot of people have opinions about me, and a lot of people have really vile opinions about me because of what he's done and the lies that he has spewed about me and this cult of women he's preyed on. I feel really bad for the women that he's done this to in a way, because a lot of them are just, they're in a vulnerable place in their lives. Some of them have, like, they're struggling in something.
Hey, Pickle, you can mute your mic when you have to cough, Lovey.
Oh, that's common sense. I'm not sure if I'm capable of such things.
A lot of the people just assume that, like, it's just a lot of the women that got involved, they were fed lies and they hated me because of something else. Like, I blocked them, or I, whatever. A lot of it's I blocked them, or I, didn't like their rude comment and I snapped back or something, And
I want to ask Nat a question just really quick. And I think, Katie, this will be an important question for you to hear the answer to as well.
Okay.
Nat, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago.
Turn my camera off. Then I don't like phone up. Okay.
A couple weeks ago, not getting into the details of what happened between Katie and Preacher Boy, because that's moot. We don't care about that stuff right now. Okay. But I know that there was an email sent to Preacher Boy that was supposedly from you. Can you confirm that that was not from you?
What email?
The email that was sent to Preacher Boy from an account presenting themselves as you.
I sent one to Katie, sorry. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, she emailed him.
Okay, so we are confirming that she did send that email.
Yeah, she did. I don't know if it was an email or a DM. I think it was an Instagram.
No, I didn't send an email.
Yeah, I think it was.
I sent Instagram messages. You've got all of them. I gave them to you.
It was an
Instagram. I gave them to Salts.
Yeah, I just wanted there to be clarity with that, so that we all knew what the truth of that situation was. Nobody can accuse Katie of lying anymore about it, because the truth has come out.
I didn't send him an email. The only
you sent him a DM.
Yes,
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were DMs on Instagram. He sent me one first, and we had a conversation.
Okay.
I've got the messages. Obviously, Salts has got them.
Okay,
So
perfect. Yeah, we don't need to know. We don't need to hear them or anything like that. I think we've all kind of seen them. I just wanted clarity on that.
Yeah.
Iris said, if that's proven to be true, then Steve, I think she's referring to, violated the court order agreement that you had. Can you ask Katie that?
I can't speak to specifics about any of that, to be honest. And at this point, we're exploring all legal options. I can't disclose a lot because I don't want to lay out my cards, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about. So it's hard. I see a lot of chatter online and I can't say a lot of, like, you see me talking about stuff and I'm really frustrated and irritated that people keep saying that I'm unhinged because I'm tweeting. Twitter is like the worst platform because honestly, you only have 240 characters and I have a lot to say and there's a lot of people that are doing stuff. And so I think it's really disingenuous after so much abuse that I've been put through with having police reports, fraud reports, CPS at my house. My husband reported to unemployment fraud, me tax fraud, having the police here 4 times, 4 CPS reports, continued threats daily for anyone to call me unhinged. I'm feeling like I can finally use my voice and share what I know, and somehow that makes me unhinged. And I just think that's just an ugly narrative.
Well, that's a common thing to do to women.
Yeah.
Right? It is. And I've watched people do it to Irish once. And I said, all they want is to be heard. And if you feel like you're not being heard, then you're going to repeat it over and over.
Well, and it's not even that. It's just people don't know how much I know, like, because I don't talk about it. Like, I have purposely been very clear about not talking about certain people because this person has been so awful to me for 2+ years, making my life hell, that I don't want to talk about that person.
Yeah.
And can I just say, like, my interaction with him was bad. Like, I told Kate today that I'm kind of worried for her and I'm worried for her safety. And I reported it straight away. Like, police here already know. They knew in February.
Yeah, but I think that's a good part about speaking out, though, because people like that are smart enough to know once people have spoken out, should something happen,
Like,
sometimes speaking out makes you safer.
What he's done is he's created an echo chamber of people that believe lies about me that aren't true. And he's basically convinced people I'm a narcissistic, like, danger to society. He's literally like the one person that pushed that my son was abused, that he wasn't sick, that I had Munchausen's by proxy. He's the one in his little group, like, cultivated that lie. They also cultivated the lie that I neglected my son because I have a job. They cultivated the lie that I lied about things that he said to me, that I took out a false TRO, that I stole his channel. Like, I didn't do any of those things. And then all of these other things where he's literally called me like a malignant narcissist. Like, he's one of the most narcissistic humans I've ever met in my entire life.
See, that's what I said I've said this quite a few times in the last couple of weeks. I kept saying, who has the biggest axe to grind with Katie? Who? And, what's the first name that comes to mind?
Well, there are going to be, like, I watch really boring stuff on YouTube, right? Like history stuff. People who should have, like, no drama or conflict. And there are people I see all the time in their comments that are just hateful for no reason.
Yeah.
There's always going to be haters. And when you cover controversial stuff, because, the Duggar cult, the people who love Duggars, they love the Duggars.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm so used to having, like, that kind of stuff, but this is not connected to that.
This is totally different. I see that.
Like, I'm not afraid. We call them the Duggar huggers. And
Jeremiah Duggar ain't bad looking. I'm just going to say it. I'm a married woman, but
he's probably one of the better looking of the boys. The girls are beautiful.
He probably acts like a total idiot, but I don't have to marry him. I can just enjoy the way he looks.
There's this huge misconception that people think that, like, I just hate on the Duggars, and I don't. Like, if you actually watch my content, we really like a lot of the girls, and we are constantly cheering on Jill. Amy Duggar King is one of my friends, so we don't hate the Duggars.
Well, I've seen you grow in that aspect, and I think that's an important thing because You know, some people who have a lot of the negative stuff to say, they are looking back on older content before you got to know the family, before you were friends with Amy.
Yeah.
When you know, and I've seen you grow in that aspect. So I will give you that. Absolutely.
Amy's a really sweet woman. And so is her mom. I've gotten to know Deanna. They're like two of the kindest, most loving women I've ever met. They are the Christians. They don't care that I'm an atheist. We don't argue about anything. They're conservative. Well, Amy's not super conservative. Amy's like pretty socially liberal. But they're just kind people. But they're dealing with a lot of really tough stuff, and they've been lied to for a very long time. And so you just have to it's hard once you get to know the family and you know the dynamics and you know how abusive the family dynamics are, to be silent.
Right. So, Nat, are you still there?
Yeah.
You doing okay?
Yep.
Okay, very good. I just want to make sure you're all right still.
Waxy's wanting to come on the panel for a minute.
So Shen says I blocked her, but I blocked her because I get really tired of, there's been a lot of people coming into my DMs telling me how I'm supposed to be acting and how I'm supposed to respond to things, and acting like because I'm sharing things, I'm unhinged or I'm making people think I'm crazy, and people don't believe the FBI is involved. And I don't have time for this drama kind of stuff, you know.
Let me ask you this, Katie, because I think a lot of people,
Yeah.
and you obviously, you don't have to answer me, but I think a lot of people are just, with all the stuff that's been said, now that we've had, and I know you haven't watched everything, I saw the chat, I know you'll go back and watch. I'm going to have to go back and watch because I don't even know I caught everything. But now that we've had this conversation, I think the biggest thing is people are wondering if, now that we kind of more concretely, and you of all people, other than those directly involved, know who has done what, if we can kind of relax a little bit and not feel like I think people kind of feel like there's a little bit of a witch hunt. I'm not saying you're conducting a witch hunt, okay?
Well, there's a lot of thing is this.
Well, there's a lot of people throwing out names to you. I've seen it.
Oh yeah, constantly.
Because she's hurt. Because she's been attacked for 2 years by the same people.
Right.
Because people are going real low. Because people are telling other things lies. I believe lies have been for the whole year. It's, of course, she can't trust anybody.
No, and I don't trust someone like Shen, because Shen was one of the biggest detractors, one of the most hateful trolls. And while she was being nice, I could still tell that she's in the weeds with a lot of people that are doing bad things and defending them. And all I'm trying to say to anyone is that if you're dedicating your life and your time to hating on one person, and all of your friends and your relationships are stemming from that, the lines get blurred, and it's very easy to cross boundaries that are just totally inappropriate. And there's no checkpoint. And I know that she was friends with Steve. I know that she says she hates him now, but I saw her in streams forever ago, constantly egging him on. So it's very hard for me to consistently listen to her, act holier than thou when I know she's done things. So,
right.
I get to have an opinion, and I don't have to have someone that's been rude to me for years tell me how to do things,
Well, I know Shen.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking for her, but I can tell you this. You're right. You're not wrong. But I think that with Shen, when children are brought into it, that hits her heart. I think that she was feeling compassion for you, because she, more than anything, knows that a child, I'm trying to be really fair here and not insult you. I don't want to say anything specific because I don't think that's right. But I think when a child's brought into it, that's when it's 100% wrong. And obviously that situation has happened to your family.
Well, but the thing is that this was happening in the first CPS. The first CPS was in November. So why weren't people compassionate then?
I don't know that everyone believed it, to be 100% honest with you, Katie.
That's the problem.
Because that's the thing, as much confusion as you have had, we've had even more, because we don't know at all what's going on. And because this climate of hate, Katie, has been culminated,
Yeah, it's hard. I can't even.
we didn't know what to believe. And
Well,
I'm not saying like that you're guiltless, because I don't think anybody is.
no, that's the thing is like people say you're blaming everything on this. No, I'm not. But like, I'm not guilty of half the shit that I'm accused of. And they know that. Like the people that have cultivated this narrative know that. Like
But they're not telling everybody else that. And that's what I'm saying.
right. Like
They're letting everybody believe everything that they want to.
correct,
And because people aren't critical thinking, they're thinking with their emotions.
correct.
They're like, oh, this, that, and the other. And they're just spinning out of control. So as much as you want people to have compassion for you, and I see that tide changing, I'm just asking you to have a little compassion down that. And I know that's hard. Trust me, I do. Have a little compassion for us, because I don't want this for you. You've got enough hate just because of what you cover. Let's bring it together, because these people who have done this, they're preying on a whole huge group of people who we could all be unified and be like, heck no, that's not true. No way.
Here's the thing is a lot of the people that are part of this were former subscribers of mine, fans, whatever, members, whoever. And for whatever reason, this is what they do. So they prey on people. So they see someone get upset with me and then they immediately start spamming that person. They have ruined every one of my collaborations. They have literally destroyed any time that I've tried to work with another creator. They ruin it. They spam, they harass, they that's what they did to Sherelle. That's what they did to Preacher Boy. They did it to Leslie. Like they've continued to do this for years. And with the Tati thing, they just got their teeth in and they just went for it. And Kim Fulmer got involved and she filed that bogus declaration. Lori got involved. Natalie, I didn't even know who Natalie was before this. So that was like this whole thing that came out of left field. And then you have all of these other people, like nobody believed me that Creepshow Art was like in the weeds with them, but she was, and she was being fed all of this stuff. And then once Creepshow put her video out with all of those bogus lies about how I'd done all these terrible things, which were not true, then it just spread like wildfire and it got way worse.
I think part of that too is there are things that have been done that people have seen with their own eyes that then it gets inflated. And so people are like, no, I saw something like that. That's not a lie. And so then, if you and I are best friends and I tell you somebody tripped me and you saw them walking past me at one point, you're going to believe me because you did see them walking past me and I'm your best friend. Why would I lie to you?
Yeah.
And so people are taking that like, well, we've seen some of the stuff Katie has done, which we didn't agree with. So why wouldn't we believe this? And I think that's something you have to work against. You already know that.
They basically, Emily Artful described it perfectly. And this is not just what Creepshow Art does, but it's what these people do, is they take a half bit of truth, just a tiny sliver of truth that is reasonable enough for you to believe, and then they spin it into a web of lies so that you don't know right from wrong. You can't see left from right. And then they play on your emotions. They play on your vulnerabilities. They play on your mental health. They prey on women who have mental illness. They prey on women who are lonely. They prey on women who are in abusive situations. It's sick. And they prey on people with disabilities. They have no morals and no scruples whatsoever.
But I just want to be clear here. When you say they, and I know what you're talking about, but you're not talking about the entire community, because I think that's where some of the hurt has come from. As much as people are saying, oh, Katie does this to everybody, Katie does that to everybody, a lot of us feel like we're getting back from you. You guys are all in a cult and you all do this. We're not. I'm not saying there's not this tight-knit group that has an agenda. There obviously is.
Yeah,
but like
yes, that's who I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about that specific group. So I'm not speaking about every other person. I'm speaking about that specific group. The fact is, though, is that specific group has the most influence, and some people don't even know that they hold all of the influence because they don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Right, but
let's let Roxy get in here for a second because she's been waiting forever.
Sorry,
what did you want to say?
I had to unmute. I'm sorry. Well, this was quite a lot longer ago in the conversation, but I had a visceral reaction, as Katie and Nat confirmed, Steve. I don't know what Katie knows. I don't know that Katie even knows me, but she might. But
I
Katie,
know a lot of pretty bad things about me on Twitter.
well, I've made some comments on Twitter. I don't know how bad, but I get you. I'm not. I'll own whatever. I have a channel on.
Block a lot.
What's that?
You comment and spam behind the block, or you used to a lot.
Behind the blocker.
Behind the block, like you're blocked and you're still commenting. You did that for.
Oh no, hon, not me.
That's not you.
No,
What,
you got.
what's
I
your handle? True Ball of Wax.
True ball of wax. Yep.
I'm pretty-
I've never done any behind. I don't even know which. Really. No.
Oh no.
I
Okay,
have.
Rocky, let's get to
Okay.
what you wanted to
Yes.
say, though.
Yes. So I wanted to come on here to say, even though you all know I have a channel that criticizes Katie, um, Katie is, in my opinion, telling the truth. What I've gone through, the minions, and we all know who they are, have worked on his behalf, and it's because I was getting too close to the truth, and they didn't like it. And Charlotte was getting close to the truth, and Charlotte got it hard, and it is everything we've watched now. Everything we've watched happen, it all goes through a lineage. I can take it to a point. I couldn't get it to Steve, but I can take it pretty far.
It
So
goes. Well, it's Steve, then Tina, and Aaron.
yep. Oh yep. I got.
See, Nat said Tina was not involved.
Oh,
No, Nat said no. That see what was misunderstood.
I didn't say that.
Nat said that Aaron wasn't there in the beginning, and then Nat said that Aaron, she couldn't say what she did. She was close to some of the people, but Nat had no evidence of what.
here's what we know from the screenshots we've seen. Tina.
And these are verified, not faked. These are true screenshots.
Yes, these are true screenshots. Tina seemed to be influencing a lot of the opinions of Little Miss Noble. Same with Kim Fulmer. And they seem to be kind of giving directions to her. And Tina is the kind of person that she will not do things overtly. She's really sneaky and she does things behind the scenes.
Kind of person.
What?
Sorry, that was me. Sorry.
Who said 100%? Oh, she's really sneaky and she does things behind the scenes. Like a couple years ago, she got mad at me because one of my followers figured out who she was. And I had no clue who she was. I didn't look her up. I didn't care. She was just this annoying person that wouldn't leave me alone. And they apparently posted her name, which I didn't even, I might have even responded to, but I didn't even take any notice of it. I was just like, oh, whatever. But I had no part of it. I wasn't connected to this person. They just left a comment. So she decided that because one of my subscribers said her name, then she started passing around a Google Earth image of my house and then sending it to people in the group saying, Katie thinks she's safe. But I've had this for months.
So what I wanted to just say is there's definite, I started crying. I feel relief because I have been silenced and off of the internet, and I can't imagine taking it as hard as Charlotte or as hard as Katie. I'm just a small little potato here. I'm nothing, and yet I got affected because I caught on. But I also just wanted to say to Nat, from what I'm understanding, you were manipulated, and so my anger that I felt in my heart for you, I'm gonna let that go. You were manipulated, and it's coming to light. So,
And yeah, and Natalie fully cooperated with police here. She had a full interview with police. She told them everything. She confessed to everything. And she
Thank you.
confessed to filing a false report. And
Oh, we need to appreciate that.
Yeah, like when I tweeted today that Nat's the only one that's actually taking ownership, she literally is the only one.
Right. I see that. Just real quick, I'm seeing a couple people saying about my Twitter. Katie, you can look at my Twitter. It's True Ball of Wax, and only comments. I've never undertweeted or whatever you said. The comments, and I'm not saying they're nice, but the only comments I've ever made are straight out what I've said. I don't Twitter hardly ever, so you're going to see maybe 20 comments. So that's it.
Hey, Nat, I just want to make sure Nat's okay. Nat, are you okay?
Yep.
Are you crying?
Hmm.
Do you feel like you need to go, or do you want to stay? It's totally on you.
No, I just wasn't expecting that. I know I've done wrong, but people hate me, and so I wasn't that.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm going to let that go. I get it. I think a lot of people get it. It's just been hard. You had no idea, I'm sure, that this group would do this other stuff that
No.
has, yeah. But I'm that's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to confirm that from my perspective, what has been happening to me, it is this lineage, and I wanted to tell Nat.
Oh, someone in the chat wanted to know who else that was involved in this. Dottie, Morgan, and Little Red was. I don't know if she's still involved in it now. Little Red was heavily involved in it for a very long time.
Katie, could that be like when they were like really good friends, and could you say maybe at least 8 months, maybe a year she's been out of that, or would you say that's not true?
With Red?
Yeah.
I don't know where Red's at. Red is...
She was here in the chat.
She's done some pretty nasty things to me.
Oh, I understand, but I
don't know, because I
thinking it's older stuff and it's not this group.
I put out my rape investigation, and that was like in December.
Right. Yeah, with Aaron. Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. She's doxed me multiple times. She put out my phone number.
We're asking who's involved with the Nat stuff, not in a general sense.
Yeah, so, I think that's what I'm saying.
I'm
saying she's not.
In this current thing, I would say, I mean, it's, if you look at how hard these people are that are defending it still.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cheshire for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Steve.
Yeah. Yep.
Tina. Kim.
Yep.
Okay, but Nat said Aaron EKC was not involved.
Well, she might not.
That's not how she worded it, Kay. You need to. She didn't say
I
not
didn't say that.
Yeah, everybody's splitting hairs. I can't stand that. Just say it. Don't.
Well, I can now, but I couldn't before because it wasn't my place.
You don't understand the threats that Nat has received. You guys can get what the terror of these emails that we get constantly. And like today, for instance, I put that thing out on Twitter and I didn't say the name, right? I get an email that says, "Why are you believing Nat now? She's lying." And Nat gets an email from them that says, "Shut your mouth or we'll shoot and kill Salts and kill you."
Oh,
wow.
That's horrible. Like they're trying to threaten her to not talk, but then they're also like telling me that it's a lie. And that's how they've existed for so long.
That is just sickening.
And then when she realized that like he was being rude to her and vile in messages because he's an in my opinion, he's an abusive, hateful, vindictive. He is one of the most vile, dangerous people I've ever been around. And the only thing he's doing this to me because I refused to apologize to him for things that he said to me.
That's just crazy. That's just the lengths these people have gone to is horrendous. It's just horrendous. I can't even think of a word bad enough to describe it.
He told me in September of 2019, if you do not apologize to me and publicly retract that I sexually harassed you, which is never really like, I don't even think I actually said sexually harassed. It was just that he spoke about his.
Yes, you did.
Did I say? I don't even remember. We were on a stream and I was not friends with him. I was not ever friends with him. I was friends with his person, the co-host that he shared the channel with. I never did streams with him. And he suddenly wanted to be there, like Johnny on the spot for something. And I was really uncomfortable. And Kyle stepped away for like 2 seconds. And then all of a sudden he starts talking to a member. And his performance. And I'm like so grossed out.
I know people in the chat are getting mad, but it really wasn't to discuss those things. They were wanting to call Katie out on everything she's done, and that's really not what this was supposed to be about.
We're getting off track big time.
Yeah, it's just going to get way off track if we do that, and that solves nothing. We can't go back and pick apart everything.
I've apologized for so many things, and a lot of the things that they're mad at me for, I'm never going to apologize to them for, because it's not things that it's their gripes with me that I don't care about or whatever, like they think I've done things. That's their opinion, like I'm never going to satisfy them. I'm not going to apologize for things that I haven't done. And I'm also not going to apologize for things that I don't think that I've done wrong, or that just because I have an opinion about it. But I will apologize for things that I have done. In terms of this situation, a lot of people have been hurt, and all we want is for it to stop.
Hey, Katie, can you tell me how to slow the comments? I cannot find it. I know. The chat's just screaming at me to.
Okay, so you said sexual harass. Okay, I forgot. It's been 2 years. Like, I'm apologizing if I said sexual harass or uncomfortable. Does it matter what I called it?
Yeah.
It does, because a man that's talking about his penis to a woman who's married, and it's an unbiased conversation while they're working, how do you qualify that?
But do you agree saying I feel uncomfortable is different than saying you're sexually harassing me?
I felt sexually harassed and I felt uncomfortable. And Steve,
but those are two different things. That's what we're saying.
Carly, have you watched this man? Have you seen what he does?
Yeah.
I have seen how he has treated me, and that was not the first time. And I'm not going to fight with people about what they believe I went through. I was there.
Let's take a breath. I don't want it to turn into that. I don't want it to turn into a screaming match or, yeah, we need to.
I honestly could have told everyone that this, I didn't know Katie would be here, but that this would be very problematic because we all share subs. The people down in this group share the same subs, so they want to believe they're other creators, or like they want to believe that I'm telling the truth, or some of them will think I'm not telling the truth because they like the other creator. And so because it's a mixed bag, okay, I could have told you we're going to have a large amount of people and this was going to get not so pretty, because tonight a lot of truth has been told and some people are going to have trouble hearing it. And of course, Katie has all her stories, and definitely there's people in this stream that are going to argue that.
Yeah, and there's people that are going to say that they're going to gaslight, and they're going to say, well, Katie does this, so what happened there doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what anyone says. Steve had a pattern of how he treated me. It made me so uncomfortable that I stopped going on stream with him. I refused to do any videos with him. I told Kyle that, and I never went on stream with him again. So he can spin it whatever way he wants. You can watch video after video after video of how he degrades his female co-hosts and speaks ill of women and how he treats women in chats. Anyone that defends this man is just they're still brainwashed or they are just as bad as him.
I think a lot of people too haven't seen how dark this stuff went.
This is
I said that earlier in the stream. They haven't seen how bad these things were that were said.
It's horrible.
Horrible.
I didn't come to a place of saying that he did things to me out of nowhere. And then when I refuse to retract it, he's going to destroy me. And then here we are today with what he's doing.
2 years later.
Right.
That's just bizarre. 2 years later.
Right.
That's a long time.
2 years later, and a channel with 2,000 subscribers had to get crapped on because she was figuring this out.
Right, exactly. And nobody should be hurt because of that. Like what has happened to Charlotte breaks my
Charlotte, it just kills me.
Yeah. Because what's happening to Charlotte is what happened to me. And it's going to keep piling on her and it's going to get worse. And that's why it's so important for people to stop like nitpicking at each other and just realizing that like for the greater good, not everyone's going to like one another, but everyone should be able to stand up for the fact that what's happening is not okay.
Well, this is why I was hoping we could have conversations about it without the hostility and going after each other. Because how do you ever get it to end if we don't all speak out against it? Because it's not right no matter who it's toward. You don't have to like Katie to know that this is all wrong.
I think that's why I came on, because everybody knows that I'm not a Katie fan. But in this instance, that's why I talked to Uni yesterday, because I mean, that's not why, but it's part of why. And it's been wrong. If it's wrong to Charlotte, it's wrong to Katie. If it's wrong to Waxy, it's wrong just down the line here.
And they don't care who they do it to. You know, it's like they have no morals, ethics, or guidelines. They don't care. This is what they've been doing for years. They have stolen channels from people. They have caused so much irreparable harm. There are so many victims of this group of people. I'm just one of the latest, and I happen to get a following that grew fast. And another reason they do this is because they want to scrub subscribers. They want to get super chats. They want to start their GoFundMes, and they want to rip people off, in my opinion. Unirock has done a really good job of breaking it all down.
He was here, but I think he left. I don't know if he's still here or not. You guys, I'm trying to do slow mode. I can't find it. It's driving me crazy.
Can I just say something now?
Yes.
The Erin. I spoke to Erin, like I spoke to Tina. And I know that Tina gives, like, I don't want to say orders, but like directions to people. But I was just told it was because she was the OG and everyone trusts her opinion. But with Erin, I generally saw her as like a friend. Like, she's never told me to do anything whatsoever. So I don't know if she's involved or not.
Exactly. You said that you said that correctly earlier, and people misunderstood.
I don't want innocent people to be like guided in from what I see. I don't know what they do personally. I don't know her and like Tina's racking conversations. That's nothing to do with me. I can only tell you how they've interacted with me.
Right. Yep, that matches. That absolutely matches.
Oh, Kim Fulmer's here, one of the cult members, starting crap in the chat.
Wonderful.
What's her name?
Unveiling the Masks. She's the one that filed the bogus declaration. She's the one that's created fake screenshots of mine. This woman is the...
Is that Unveiling the Mask?
Oh, Unveiling the Mask. She's one of the most sadistic humans in my...
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. That's Kim Fulmer.
Katie, would you put Golden Unicorn in this story?
Oh, yeah. She's also like...
Okay.
she's like, I just don't interact with her a lot personally. But
Right.
she and Chesh are like obsessed with Steve, and they'll do anything he says. They don't.
Right.
Same with Tina. They'll do whatever. Tina will do whatever he says. Chesh will do whatever he says, and Golden Unicorn will do whatever he says. And Golden Unicorn is so cruel. She has the things she says about people are like so mean.
See, I've never even heard that name come up.
Well, it's like Manya is her name, I think.
Yes, it is.
And she's got different usernames depending on which she's on. I've always known her as Manya.
Somebody's got feedback on their mic.
Oh, is it me?
I don't know.
I'm on my phone.
Is it me?
I wonder if it's Carly. Let me take you out and put you back in.
I just can't.
Sorry, Carly. I'm sorry, girl. Kind of have a little laughter in here. Lighten up the mood a little bit.
It made me laugh. It's funny when you get emotional, you'll laugh and you'll cry.
Is it still me?
Yeah, you guys, you got to watch the language, and we're not going to turn it into that. You guys will have to be timed out or something because we're not going to do that.
Oh, here comes Red. Look at all these people.
Gang's all here.
There's 500 people.
Who isn't here? I mean, really.
You know,
well, that's why I would think that as adults, mostly women, we could have a conversation about this and come to some resolution, and not make the chat fall into cussing and saying stupid crap. And come on, let's all act like adults.
Well, what's going to happen is the I'm going to call them haters. I don't know what to call them, but the detractors are going to nitpick and pick it all apart.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but some of us can now maybe breathe, and I hope to God that includes Charlotte. I mean, it's to the point that Charlotte and I've had a conversation that we'll get off the internet. This is they went to her children and her grandchildren. It's gone too far.
I'm never going to apologize to Steve, Leslie, and I wish you'd just leave me alone. This girl has lied about me more than any human. She is so I'm not, people are seriously in the chat saying over and over and over again that I should apologize to him for what he did. The only reason I ever apologized to him was because he threatened me. He said, if you
apologize to who?
Huh?
Apologize to who?
He wanted me to apologize for making the comment about him sexually harassing me. And by the way, it might be a crime, but it's not like I pressed charges. He didn't go to jail for it. So people need to stop speaking to that level. It's people get accused, people say things all the time. He said things that met the need of sexual harassment. He threatened me in email and said, if you don't apologize to me, I will continue to go after her. I had been beaten down. I had a small channel at the time, and I apologized. And then he kept going, and he lied, and he didn't stop. And then I retracted the apology, and I said, no, I'm not going to apologize because you did this. He threatened me into making a video. He kept threatening me to make more videos. That's what he does to people.
I think that different personalities chose to do the mean stuff based on what they thought would work. And so I've been wondering this whole time, what did Steve direct this, or did they do it and then he just reported, hey, we're handling it, we're doing this and we're doing that? I think it could be partially both.
Oh my God, Leslie, I need to block her.
Oh.
I agree.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to do 10 things at once here.
Same.
I think we should be talking about, well, I don't have to stay actually, but I think we should be talking about the the lineage from Nat to someone like Waxy. I think the subject matter that everybody's here for, and was, Nat gonna spill what she knew, and she stayed pretty darn true, even though she was getting barraged with questions, to not answering. She skirted answers. She said half things people weren't catching, but I suppose I caught it because I have
I
already.
tried.
I
You
know
know,
you did. I know you did.
I just want to say I feel for you ladies, because like I know when you're up against these people, it feels like you're up against the world, because they verbally assault you and they gaslight you and they make you feel like what happened to you isn't real. And I understand what happened to both of you, and I empathize with you, and I'm sorry.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, and this is the only way we can all move forward and make it better and not allow people like this to come in and destroy things and destroy people's lives.
Well, before we had the declarations and the lawsuit, it was decent. It was, Katie, I did videos saying I didn't agree with your Duggar content, but it wasn't hateful.
Oh, that came back out.
It wasn't hateful. It wasn't.
Yeah, and I honestly don't care if people criticize me. I don't.
Sorry.
She's back.
We lost somebody.
I got Nat back in there.
Yeah, she's back.
I'm no good at this. Just press a button and it goes off.
I think the biggest thing that people don't realize is that, like, I've seen so many screenshots of what's happened, and like whole conversations of what went down, and like it's very clear that Katie, Little Miss Noble, was being directed by someone to do things, and then he was then directing Dustin and Natalie to do things. And then when Natalie wouldn't toe the party line, she would threaten her and say, "You're lying, Natalie. You know that this happened. You know that we have this video. You know that Michael Saltz is going to hire these people to kill you. You know that they sent him to rape you." Like she would say these terrible things over and over again. And like you can clearly see through their conversations how much she's manipulating Nat, when Nat's trying to like be like, "No, I don't think that happened," and she's like pushing her to file reports. And then Nat's like, "I don't think I saw that." And she's like, "You did see that. You saw that. You told me you saw that."
This makes complete sense.
And then Dustin would be kind of doing the same thing. And then like while Nat's like, and I have to be completely honest, you guys, like this woman sat with a police here in Minnesota via Zoom, and the detective like flat out said she's a vulnerable adult and was manipulated, but she still committed a crime, and
Yeah.
like there's not a lot. He can forward it to the prosecution and we can get a warrant and have her, a warrant put out, meaning that she'll go to jail if she comes to the United States. But we can't send it to the UK. Like they spoke to the police in the UK, like the detective, I believe, said that. He told me that Nat fully confessed and that he said she's a vulnerable adult and she's easily manipulated, and it's true. And you don't have to like Nat or understand Nat. I don't like some of the stuff she's done, but she's also in a way a victim of all of this. And that's what they do, is they turn victims into perpetrators and they don't know it.
People are asking on here, Katie, if you have evidence that EKC is involved.
Oh, I was just going off what Natalie said. Like someone was asking, like, and she had said like she didn't know that Aaron was not involved. But I will say this, that Aaron has been spending a lot of time defending what Steve does. And so she's in really tight with Steve. I don't know about like the threats or whatever, But what she's trying, Erin's perspective right now, what Erin's doing is she's trying to make you guys make me think that my claims of everything that are uncredible so that Steve's claims against me are credible. So she's like in a way doing his damage control, like trying to like clean his public image.
She's also behind what Charlotte is going through.
Yeah, she pulled
And
yeah,
she is behind what I'm going through.
and she's behind pulling my police reports and consistently talking and monetizing my rape and accusing me of lying. She's called my husband's employer. She's gone to really obsessive lengths with me. It's been for over a year and a half now. So that's why I'm saying, like, knowing how obsessed she is and how much she's like obsessed with Steve. I don't have proof. I just know that she's doing damage control for him, which these people are so sneaky. And she's
that's what I would say. It is this, what I can put on the table here is that it's people are getting too close. Me and Charlotte getting too close to that we know that they're behind Nat, and so it's shut Charlotte up, then shut Waxy up, and then whatever means that meant. So I have all the screenshots, all that. I can show you all what I know.
I would love to see that. Someone asked what Erin was involved in this. So we got a bunch of threats, and the only person that's literally ever responded to one of these threats was Erin. And it's because they're spoofed and they're not real emails. And she started going off like she was speaking. The email was supposed to come from me, right? But she was speaking to someone in a third person that was not me in the reply. And then she replied again. And literally, she's the only person that's ever responded. So it was weird when that happened. And she was like calling me all of these names. And like, it didn't make sense because I never even saw the first email. So why I was even in the string. And I had to like respond to her at one point and be like, Erin, this isn't from me, you know? And she just kept going. Like, it felt like she forgot.
See, and I think Shins brings up a good point here, and this is why I keep saying it. Waxy keeps saying I'm wrong when I keep saying, so Erin was not involved, and Waxy, you keep saying, no, that's not what she said. But there's no proof, there's no evidence, and you all know how I feel about Erin.
No,
I can't stand the stuff she's done, but you can't say she's involved if nobody has proof.
All I'm saying is responded to those emails, and she's doing damage control for him.
I'm more talking about what Waxy said.
Ask me what you think I said wrong.
Because you said that Natalie said that Erin is involved.
Natalie wouldn't say that. She kept saying she skirted it. You can go back and listen to this. I came in when Natalie had left and then came back. So anything she said before that, I don't know. But once she was back, Natalie wouldn't answer it. She was like, I only know that Erin knows some of the people, but she didn't. And the first question was Erin one of the people that addressed you early on? I think Pickle asked that question, and she said no, she didn't. That wasn't one of the people that addressed her early on. I believe that to be true. Then she asked, or Natalie was asked again about Erin, and it was like, no, I don't know. I know she's talks to some of the people, but I can't place her there. And that's true. I can believe that.
Like, I didn't know. Like, I spoke to Steve in February and he was threatening, and I didn't know at that time that he was connected with like everybody else. And I found out bits throughout the year, and then I found out a lot in the last month. So Steve's close to Tina. Tina's close to Erin, and she gives like advice to like everybody else, and then everybody takes
so
like.
Dad, did you ever deal directly with Erin?
Yeah. but not for like, she was never one to say, oh, you should do this, do that, anything like that. We just
Was
talk
it
like normal people. That's what I'm
was just a
saying. Like,
friendship?
I, I personally, my relationship with her was just like normal. We would just talk generally. My conversations with Tina were about KJ.
Your
My conversation
conversation with Tina, what?
was about KJ.
So Tina was more involved, right? See, okay. But see, this is the problem. You can't just, you know, I
Tina was when I
What
spoke to Little Miss
what can't I
Noble.
do? What did I do wrong? What
well,
can't
I'm
I
just
do?
saying you kept saying that Aaron was involved.
I'm saying to you and to everybody listening that I have been affected because of my knowledge of what's going on with Nat. I got affected because I started speaking that a couple 3 weeks ago, and bam, shut up, Waxy. Shut her up. Now, you can ask yourself why that would be. I can show you the proof I have of what I'm saying. Can I tell you that Aaron wrote the memes or the disgusting death threats? Oh, heck no. I can't do that for you. But I can show you that she knew what Nat's script was. I can show you that she was attacking me. I can show you. I
Listen,
mean,
I'm not a fan of Aaron's. I'm not. But we have to be careful that we're not throwing people under the bus that didn't.
I'm not saying I cannot prove that Aaron did anything more than run protection for whatever was going on with Nat and the declaration and how involved people were with that.
Okay. I just want to be clear because people were confused again in the chat. I
So
put
what?
the link in there, guys. I
Hey,
put.
someone asked in chat if Tina and Dottie were involved. Dottie is cooperating with Salts.
Yep.
So she has admitted to certain aspects. I don't know to what level. And that's the thing, like people that know things are cooperating right now, and Nat is cooperating right now. So Dottie and Nat are cooperating. So I don't know what Dottie's involvement is, but she's cooperating.
Chad
And
is asking if Raken's involved.
Raken,
Yeah.
I don't really know. A lot of people keep saying that it's Raken, and we're Salts insists that she's not involved.
To 2K Fish, I guess. No, I'm not pushing a narrative because I don't like Aaron. I liked Aaron very much until she started attacking me. You can go back and watch and see wherever Waxy was. If Waxy ever said anything bad about Aaron, I thought Aaron and I were friends. It shocked me when Aaron did this and started being mean to me. I had no narrative to push. I liked Aaron until this happened. So I'm sorry. That's just not true. I'm not pushing any narrative. I've been silent. I have been off. I've not done a video
Yeah, I
or a
don't agree
stream.
with anything Aaron has done, and I've been very vocal about that in videos. And so, but I just didn't want to be putting out there. If nobody has proof that she was involved, then you can't say she's involved.
I think right now it's just they're looking at her, I'll say.
Yeah, and maybe she was on the edge of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that are being watched, and she's one of them, but I don't know that they've come up with anyone. I already tweeted that Jennifer didn't do the threats. So she did have a Discord and did some other stuff that was crappy. And she did come into my DMs acting all panicky and super suspicious and acting like I've never seen, but no, she didn't. As far
Yeah,
as
she was here earlier explaining why she was so panicked. And
like now looking back, I'm sure she's terrified of these people.
yeah, I think she is, truly.
And I mean, I remember when these people were trying to set me up, I felt terrified too in the middle of the lawsuit. When they were filing all this stuff against me and then making it look like I was filing things against Salts. And, you know, I was freaking out and I was like, they're trying to get me arrested. They're trying to literally get me arrested. They're trying to get me, you know, and I will just say that I have an amazing legal team and they've done an amazing job and they did an amazing job and they continue to do an amazing job. So,
two things according to the chat, and I knew this was going to happen. I have my own truth, and it is the truth. And I will show you what I have, and then you can decide. But regardless, if you end up believing me or not, I haven't deserved what has happened to me. And I hope it never happens to any of you. Second, Katie, if you're still here, I think you're still here. Yes. Do you know is of anyone being charged yet in this?
I only know that on the local level that Natalie has been interviewed and then he was going to send the papers to the prosecutor for filing a false police report.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And we're still figuring out what to do about little Miss Noble. So people keep asking about like what's going on with the FBI. They recently switched us to another branch. So the problem is we've been in 3 different offices. So we started in Washington, then they moved us to LA, and now they're going to Pennsylvania. So the reason we're going to Pennsylvania is because there's evidence that we have against Katie and Dustin that are actual crimes. So
right. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we just switched like last week to the new place in whatever you call it in Pennsylvania. But what I want to clear up a few things that have been out there about the investigation that are just not true. And it's been pushed really hard by Salts is not under investigation by the FBI. Salts might do things unconventionally, but he is not under investigation. He's just not. And I'm not under investigation. My attorney's not under investigation. I was never under investigation. My legal team has interviewed with the FBI multiple times. I have spoken to the FBI. And Salts, I think, has spoken to the FBI. People want to know why there hasn't been interviews because we've been moved around so much. And in the first office, we didn't have anybody to, like, we didn't know the identity of anyone. So Washington was like, didn't know what to do with it. Now we literally know who's involved, at least in Pennsylvania. So it's going to Pennsylvania.
That's some crazy stuff. I just can't even believe this stuff.
Yeah, and it's the FBI only deals with felonies. And here's the thing, even I can't determine what the FBI does. I know that there's an active investigation. I literally emailed an agent last week. But they keep throwing out this other agent, like Agent Johnson. He's not on the case anymore. He was the Seattle agent. And yeah.
People keep asking why you said the IPs matched on Twitter.
What IPs?
I think they're talking about Jennifer's IP when you were saying.
We have an IP. So there's an IP address that we tracked to at Atkinson. And there was one in Colorado. There was one in Ontario. There's one in California. There were times during this process that the people who were doing these things were not, they've been using a VPN. And I don't want to explain how they're doing these things because I don't want copycats to happen because I've already shared too much. But they've been using a VPN and they've been using a mask to cover it up. And then there's times when they forget. And then when they forget, we get information. And now that they've realized that we have IPs, now they've resorted to actually just making fake Google accounts. So, or yesterday they were trying to use like fake Facebook pages. So it's really just, and the part is that some of the people, I don't even think that some of the threats we get are like copycat people because they've just learned what to do.
Oh, I'm sure. I've always thought that.
Yeah, some of them are just copycats, but like the stuff that we got in the beginning and even just like it's weird once you see someone's typing so much, you just know it. And so it's like, when it's just someone being a bullshitter and when it's actually the same people. So, and then they seem to copy and paste things a lot.
Salt just said to me yesterday that that's not me, it's a fake account because it comes out with this picture and I immediately panic.
Yeah, and they take how Natalie writes and then they just copy it.
All the time and all the planning, it's sickening.
Yeah.
So much time wasted. Sickening. Hey, don't fight with people in the chat. Let's just all be respectful, act like adults.
I want to say I'm very thankful for the support here. There's a lot of people supporting me. My DMs are blowing up, but thank you everybody. I'm gonna be fine. I have a wonderful family. I have a good life. My garden. I'm good, guys. It's just here, so that's why it's like maybe I don't belong here. But yeah, I love you all, and technically, Kay, I think I've said everything that I came to say.
All righty.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
So,
thank you.
Why the FBI in the chat? Someone asked why the FBI is involved. It's because they got involved in a federal case. It's not YouTube drama. These people actually got involved with court officials in a federal case, and that's why it's at the FBI. They threatened 2 court officials. They threatened my attorney. They threatened Michael Saltz, and then they also created images of children with,
Yeah, this is what I said earlier. People don't understand how dark and evil this went.
Yeah, and the stuff they did, we don't put out the threats. We've put out a fraction of them. And the stuff they've directed about my son is deeply
sickening. Just sickening.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that because a lot of what Katie got, they tagged me and Saltz into it.
Yeah.
So the 300, I've got 500 emails now, but of at least 300 of them, Katie's tagged into all of them. Yep. So when people are like, oh, she didn't get threats, I bet she hasn't got that many. I couldn't come out and say at that time, well, yeah, she is. But yeah, a lot of her threats, I was tagged into as well. So when she's posting them, she's posting real threats, guys, because I'm in the emails as well.
Oh,
they're not fake.
They're talking about dismembering my son, disemboweling him, raping him and making me watch, and then slitting his throat and then killing me. They talk about killing my husband. They talk about raping me, killing me. It's a lot
of horrible stuff.
Really terrible stuff. And it's a lot about my son. Just really bad things about my son. And the FBI is most concerned against the crimes against the children.
Absolutely.
And so when you start threatening children, you know, disemboweling them. And I mean, when we were in court and said that I was a victim of these threats, we were not lying. We just didn't put them out publicly. Like, we have a file of hundreds of these.
See, I always thought that's why Emily D. Baker got threats, was just to make it look more legitimate, or to make it look like Katie was involved.
They were trying to frame me. So what
Yeah.
they were trying to do was they were trying to make it look like I was sending the threats. And then when that didn't work, they kept changing their strategy. And now what they're trying to do now, because the threats have amplified since the new filing with Halo, like Tati's business is suing Clark Swanson, they are trying to get into this new lawsuit. So they want attention and they want to be a part of this new lawsuit, and they want to pin this on Clark Swanson, who I want to say he's not involved in this. There's no evidence he's involved in this. There's literally no evidence that he's involved in this. So if he is involved in it and we haven't found that information, I'll be shocked. But he's done a lot of shitty things, and this is probably not one of them. And they keep trying to like deflect from who the real people are. So they keep saying Swanson, but what they really want is they want to be a part of that lawsuit because they want the attention.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Shade. I don't think people, the average person, understood how bad this went. They just thought it was some empty threats and no big deal. And Katie's still not even giving you the worst of it, which we don't need to. She's just giving you the tip of the iceberg.
Like, I can't tell you half the stuff we got.
It's
the worst of the worst is with the FBI, you know, and like it should the fact that they took images of Michael Saltz's children and put them on pornography and then put them on webs all over the web.
I can't. It about makes me physically ill just thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine every single day you're getting emails from people telling you they're going to disembowel your child, rape them, slit their throat, cut their arms off, dismember them. Like, that's the kind of stuff we're getting every day.
And they repeat it, like, so, like, a lot of my emails were about, like, we're going to dig up your baby's remains and that and take a crap on them and then burn you alive. And they'd repeat it every single day.
Yeah,
so you'd wake up every day to like 16, 17 emails.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just a case of just like changing your email.
Relentless.
Oh,
you have to give your email over to like police and that. So you have to keep the email. So every time I went into the email, it's horrible just going down and putting like 20 emails in a box.
I know.
And
I would to like 50. And I would get tagged on Natalie's threats too. So it would be like, I would get tagged. Oh, and then they were like, the threats they did against my lawyer were horrible. Like, and they were constantly accusing people of raping Natalie, which I'm sure messed with her head, right? And
yeah.
So they're telling Natalie she's been raped constantly. They're telling her that they've hired a hitman constantly. They're telling Natalie they're going to kill her if she says anything constantly. And then to me, they're saying you need to give up the evidence you have about Swanson. And it's like and then they keep saying you have these videos, which they don't have. Like I never had a video chat with this man. I don't like every evidence. Like I've given everything to the people, you know, involved. And like, I don't have, they keep saying, oh, we have video evidence of you doing this or you doing that, or you're extorting, and they're extorting us. They're trying to get us to give them money if you don't do this. And they do things like, if you don't do this, then something bad's going to happen. And then the next day there would be a string of false allegations against me. There would be 7 new videos about me because somehow something would get out that I did something, you know? So you're like,
hey, Jennifer, she already said that you didn't do it. You must have been gone. Yeah, there's not a chance in hell YouTube's going to let this video go. This video is a hot mess.
I didn't file the CPS report Little Miss Noble filed for. I filed the sheriff's report that the information I was given, but I did tell the authorities that. But I did, however, take full responsibility for it because at the end of the day, regardless of whether it had been manipulated or not, I still filed it. And I told the sheriff that. And I actually told the police that here too. And I said that I can give them the information to talk to the sheriff if they needed to go further with like charges and that. But when I spoke to my police, they said that they would see me as like the victim in it because I showed them the threats that I received, that if I didn't do it, they would like kill me and that. So I'm just putting that out there.
And like people just in the chat are like saying like the FBI wasn't at people's houses. The FBI literally came to my house. Like I wasn't home because we were at the hospital, but they did come to my house. They've called me multiple times. My attorney is the one that brought this to the FBI. And my attorney sat with the FBI for hours.
Yeah, I don't know why people kept thinking there was no real investigation. I don't know.
I think people think of like CSI, like it's going to happen like that. And like all I can tell you about federal investigations, they take forever. And
I thought it would, honestly, on mine, I thought it would go quicker because there were children involved. And normally they're quicker to move when it involves kids.
We've had 3 different locations, and now with this new one, we finally have suspects. But like, we're gonna be meeting next week, I guess, to try to iron out some of the stuff, and they have to do like subpoenas and because there's 2 things. There's the FBI stuff happening, and then there's a civil lawsuit that Saltz is filing.
Oh, I have no doubt. He's not going to play with this.
No, he's filing a civil lawsuit. I don't know against who, but I already know that there's been things filed, and he's just adding to it. He's adding names, and I don't know. He's working on it. He's also in the middle of like that lawsuit with Tati. So, but yeah,
What's the civil suit?
the civil suit is for
that.
I don't know. It's for the stuff about his kids. Like they messed up by fucking with his kids.
Absolutely.
And he's a multimillionaire. He's got a successful law practice. Like he
doesn't have to pay anybody to sue because he's his own attorney. So
right. That's what I'm saying. Like he's a multimillionaire and he has the money, he's got the resources, he's got the team to do these things. So, you know, he's Michael Saltz.
Yeah.
What is a civil suit?
A civil suit? You mean like what is a civil suit?
Yeah.
It's like a lawsuit that's not in criminal court.
Oh, okay.
So you sue somebody for money saying they damaged you or did something to you, and
like what Tati's lawsuit against me was a civil lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
But we ended up settling.
Yeah.
Now people in the chat are getting pretty wound up. I don't have enough mods. Nobody expected this tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm sorry.
No, it's about impossible.
Your last stream wasn't like this, so I'm like overwhelmed.
Who knew? Who knew? And look, it's 12:30. Y'all keep me up past my bedtime.
It's 5:30 here in the morning.
Dang. Well, I think we probably ought to wrap it up because chat's just getting so out of hand. Does anybody else have anything they need to say before we go?
Someone said if it's been filed, it's on Pacer, right? It's not a federal lawsuit. And right now I don't know how he filed it, so you won't be able to find it. And it's not a federal lawsuit, at least the civil side. I think that's going to be happening in California. And I haven't, we're talking next week with my team about what we're going to do legally. But I'm in the middle of other. It's a mess. There's a lot of things.
Do you know who did the threats then?
Huh?
Do you know who was doing those kind of things? Because I didn't know.
She's asking if you know who made the actual threats.
I have ideas, but I don't want to say them out loud.
But the assaults obviously knows then who's done things like that.
I mean, what I can say is we have actual crimes that we can go against Katie and Dustin for.
So they were the ones that, oh my God.
I don't know if they're specifically a part of all of the threats, or we just have enough evidence that for them, with false reporting, with like, there's a lot of things that they've done.
Wow.
But I don't know, like, to what extent.
Now, why are you so surprised?
Because I know that she's done some things, but like to that extent, I don't know. I didn't realize that she was actually doing the threats. She said like,
People are asking who are Katie and Dustin.
So Katie is Little Miss Noble, and then Dustin Tinley is her
Friend.
Government friend?
Yeah, but he's not really in the government. He's like
An EMT.
An EMT.
Quote government.
Yeah, I would say, like, in terms of like, did they do the threats 100%? Can I say that conclusively? No. What we have is a lot of evidence that they've done a lot of things around the threats and had orchestrated a lot of the other things. But then there's also evidence now that other people were pulling strings for them too. We've never believed that it was one person doing the threats because there's multiple different like voices in the threats. Like one day it'll sound like a man, the next day it'll sound like a woman. And you can kind of tell like who it is, but you don't know which person, like you don't know the identity.
So Katie, a lot of people in the chat still think Nat was the one that sent the threats. You don't think she did, or?
I don't think Nat sent the threats, no.
Now that's just her opinion, and that's what you guys are asking for.
Just because of what we've seen, and she's handed literally her whole social media over, and they've, I think, looked at her activity on her wireless and her router, and it's just not there.
You guys, we've already gone over the Jennifer stuff like 3-4 times.
I gave everything over. I've got nothing to hide. Like, I didn't send threats. I'm surprised that Noble sent threats because I spoke to her. When I got these threats, I spoke to her on the phone. Sometimes I was sobbing and she was really reassuring. So to hear that she might have sent some threats, I'm like, that's a lot of information to process. Like she would say like, oh, well, Tina did this and Racken did this and Erin did this and blah, blah, blah. And I would just be like, oh, well, I don't, because I didn't know that. I don't know that they've done those things. So I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't believe that. I would have believed that Steve did it because he was threatening and things like that. But I didn't believe these people were involved. So to hear that she might be involved is just like, my mind's blown.
It's wild to me that your mind would be blown because she was literally trying to convince you that Michael Saltz raped you and that I hired people to rape you.
Wow.
So it's just,
you know what I mean?
A lot. I know. It's just, it's a lot. Like just
she's literally
autistic brain. Like it takes a lot to process. It's a lot of information.
She's literally in messages to you telling you Katie hired people to rape you. That never.
I know. I told her that wasn't true though, but she would go on and on about it.
Right, and what always showed up in threats?
The same thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, holy box.
The thing, though, with Hateless Joy, I don't know if she's in the chat, but the other day when I went off course with the scripts, I showed my emails, and one of them come across Hateless Joy thing, and They were saying when I was on Twitter about a month ago now, I don't know, whenever they did the Shuns Pattern and Hateless Joy thread. And Hateless Joy sent Noble a screenshot of her saying that Salts was in a secret group. I redacted I scribbled out her name and I sent it to Salts and asked him about it because Noble was saying that Salts was lying to me and he was this bad man, like killer kind of thing. And so I asked him some questions about it. And then the next day, my Twitter was hacked and the screenshot turned up in an email. And Noble said, "Oh, well, your Twitter was hacked and you'd sent it to someone on Twitter," because she thought that I'd sent it to Salts on Twitter and I hadn't. I sent it to Salts on Messenger and I wasn't hacked on Messenger. So to me, it could have only come from Hateless Joy or Noble, the email.
There's been a couple that have sounded like the other person, but I don't want to accuse anyone. Like, I think some of the people like try to sound like other people too. Like, they try to mimic whatever is happening on Twitter. But, you know, I don't know. In terms of Steve, what I know about what she told me about Steve was that Steve was telling her to follow Little Miss Noble's directions and to not question things and that things would be bad if she did not. That's what Nat told me. And then when she started asking questions, then they said that that wasn't the real Steve. And then her Instagram got hacked and all of those DMs were removed. There were
I want to be clear though, because it is confusing. So Steve, there's no proof that Steve sent the threats. There's just proof that Steve was involved with all this stuff.
It's just Natalie's, that Natalie had conversations with him, that he was telling her to trust him and to not question, and bad things happen to people that don't listen to him. And then the problem is that Natalie was willingly giving Katie access to her social medias too. So Katie was going on Nat's socials and posting as Nat.
Katie is Little Miss Noble. I know it gets confusing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just want, the Hateless Joy, I didn't mean that she was involved at all. I didn't mean that.
So from my perspective, it seems like when I've looked at all, there's been so many screenshots that we obviously can't share.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Nat asking questions and then them telling her that gaslighting her basically.
But you verified that was Steve's account?
Yeah, it was Steve's account. Yes.
Talking to Natalie.
Yes. It was not a fake account.
So they said it was a fake account. And when I spoke to people recently, they were like, I bet it was a fake Steve account. I don't think that that's the real Steve account. So when you said it was the real Steve account today, it was like, oh, okay. But I did report it in February, because the police weren't too concerned here. I mean, if he lived here, I'd have filed for an harassment charge and I'd have pressed charges, no doubt. But because he lives in the US, they weren't too bothered about my safety because he's in a different country. But it was filed and it was reported because obviously it scared me at the time. And I was given a victim thing to call to talk to people about it.
And she, today while we were emailing, I asked her to send me, she had him blocked, which I understand. And I said, please unblock him so I can see what account it was. Because, when you block, it goes to 0 followers and 0 whatever. And so she unblocked him and it had the it was the exact same account. He couldn't do anything outright. He had to hide because of the NDA.
Shins, I don't understand. you saying it was all Nat and you're not buying any of this? There's no way Nat did all this by herself. She just
No.
There's no way.
We have so much evidence that it's not just Nat. They've literally looked at her entire router. Like, they monitor her wireless, and like, they've had a private investigator working on this. Natalie's wireless doesn't match any of the activity.
All right, I think that's it, you guys. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
This is a
Cardi and I have been here since 7, so
Yeah. Wild Saturday night.
never did I think I would do a stream this long, especially after Little Miss Noble. But like
Can
I
I
said,
clear one thing up that I keep seeing coming
yeah,
up?
go right ahead, Nat.
So last year, my psychologist got death threats, and I put a post up on my autistic group that I admin about it and being accused. My psychologist said that he thought it was me because I'd been set up before, and I thought it was my ex-partner, and we both accused each other, and we both got arrested for it. And we both, in the UK, the thing you do is hand over your phone, which is your device, and they go through it, analyze it, and then they can give it back and say you're either innocent or guilty. It's quite easy here. I wish it was that easy in the US because I offered my phone in January. So this year, it was the end of last year, I think it was December. They come and they said that one of my friends, Caitlin, had admitted to doing it. She sent a long essay about it, but they carried on their investigation anyway. And then this year, I got a full apology, and me and my ex were cleared of all wrongdoing. And I got an apology from the place. So I haven't got a criminal record. Like, my criminal record is clean. I've offered that up to Salts. I offered my medical records up to Salts. I offered my devices up to him. I even said to him last week, I can send you my phone if you want it. It would leave me without a phone, but I'm happy to do that. I have nothing to hide. The things that I've done wrong, I've taken accountability for. I've told the police here. I asked them to come and arrest me. I said I've made a false report. When I spoke to them, I'd give them all the evidence over. I told them like the threats, and I was able to show them because obviously they're on my phone, so it's easy to just show the police here everything. And they've taken it into account so that if it does come from the US, if the FBI do get involved with Interpol and they want to speak to me, they already know over here. They've already got the things from February. They've already got the threats from January I reported to the police. They've got everything throughout. I just wanted to make that clear because I know people are like, oh, well, she's done this before because she did it last year to a psychologist. I was cleared. I was offered an apology. My phone was analysed. That's the thing in the UK. You hand over your phone, they analyse it, and they can tell whether you're guilty or innocent. That's why the first thing I did in January was say to Salts, here, I have my phone. Like, I can send you my phone because that's just what it's easier to do here. But, like, I get it's not like that in the US, and then everything else got messy.
Chopper Lily, that's the whole thing she just explained.
He didn't file a restraining order against me. That's crap. But I got an apology from him. So I got proved innocent. There was nothing from me. Like, because they do the exact same thing. They go on, like, we have a great cyber unit in the UK, like an amazing cyber unit. If I did something wrong, I'd be in jail. No questions asked. Like, your mental health, they take it into account, but they'll still charge you with something. And like having DID, yeah, I've got 22 alters. I can't stop that. I can't help that. But if one of them did something wrong, the whole system takes responsibility. And I've never said anything different. So if one of them did something wrong, I'd take responsibility for it. I've never tried to use an excuse. I tried to explain like the alternate reality and the delusions and things like that, but I didn't like use it as an excuse. I said I take responsibility for it. I just wanted to make that clear.
Is that it, you guys? Everybody got their questions answered?
No.
No.
but I'm not starting. So
I'd have to put on a whole pot of coffee to keep going at this point.
And listen, I want to say, like, I am sorry if people are upset that I'm all over the place, but I would just ask people to understand from my perspective how this has been. And I see people are being mean to Natalie, and like, I'm not a huge fan of Natalie, but I also am like empathetic because I've seen what she's gone through. And it's really easy to hate on something because you know or you think you know the whole story. And I wish I could tell you it, but I can't. And it's the
It'll
best,
all come out though.
it'll all come out. And I don't have hate for everyone. I don't hate everyone. I've been hurt. Steve has hurt me extensively. He's made it, I mean, this has been the entirety of my YouTube career. He's been going after me. And it's been impossible for me throughout that entire time to understand who wants to help me and who doesn't want to help me and who's there for me and who's not there for me. And then, like, I actually have friends and then they try to ruin those friendships. And so it's like you constantly are under attack. Like, they're getting my niece to, you know, like, people in that community that have no scruples are getting my niece to speak out who doesn't have a relationship with us and we haven't seen in 7 years, you know. And
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's just a lot. And people expect me to act a certain type of way, and all I can say is unless you've been under this level of harassment, you won't understand. Like, I will forgive people and I will say, like, I'm understand, but it doesn't mean the hurt's not there, you know. Like, the pain is still there, the anger is still there. Like, the name of this man is a swear word in my house, you know. Like,
Oh, I bet.
it pains my husband, it pains me. We would do anything for him to stop. And, you know, it doesn't, you can all argue about what, if you think I should have done this or shouldn't have done that, does that warrant what's happened here?
No.
Does that
And
warrant?
that's what I've been saying for months. Whatever Katie's done or you don't like her for, or whatever, she never deserved this. Nobody does. And if they think it's okay to go after Katie, it'll be all of us next.
And that's what I've been saying. It's like, that's why I feel bad that Wax has become a victim. Charlotte's become a victim. I mean, that's how has really been able to thrive, is that they have so many fake accounts and they all work collaboratively. Like, they've had so many different group chats where they plan, coordinate, and attack, and they do it synchronously, and they all have different goals and different, like, they all have different, like, roles. And the sick thing about them is they also play both sides. So you get people that are like, they have 13 sock accounts and 7 of them are pretending to be your friend and a supporter.
And then you can't trust anybody.
Correct. And
but
so
my hope is, after doing all these streams and people seeing what's really happened, is that people will start speaking out when you see this stuff. Because if people feel shamed, if we speak out immediately when you see people doing it, they're not as willing to run with it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I think they've allowed, like, you have, like, hardcore supporters of him in your chat right now that are going to, no matter what, say everything I say is a lie, you know?
Yeah.
And they have, like, so many sock accounts. There's, like, so many of them that, like, there's this one woman that literally, if you look at her Twitter, she's talking to herself, because I know all of her socks. But she's doing that. They do that to make it look like the hate is so much greater. And then they wait and engage for other people. And then they attack.
Yep.
And they've done this. I'm not the first person they've done this to. They've done this to Scientist Mel. They've done this to a creator named Fiona. They did this to Exiled, one of her friends. They have hurt They've done this to Nate Brody. They've done this to so many creators. He's trying to do this now to Jimmy Snow. Like, he won't stop.
Now, everybody's got to start speaking out when you see it for sure. I got to go, guys. I'm keeping my son up. He probably wants to go to bed. Poor guy. But thank you all. Thanks for coming. Thanks for keeping it reasonably respectful. We had some hot moments, though.
It was very unexpected for it to be this long and this many people.
Oh, and someone just said I have sock accounts. I want to be clear. I have been under, like, for months. My when you're in lawsuits, you guys, like, everything you do is tracked, and you have to hand over everything to a court.